welcome to Family Heritage Living.
We have been missing in action now for 2 months.
Time goes quick.
It does. And actually, we did a video last week, and everybody just missed it.
Yep.
We spent a half hour out here. We'll tell you where here is in a few minutes, and we did a video on opening day of deer season.
We did. Yep.
And it was about a 25-minute, 30-minute video, and it went smoothly, little editing. I was so excited because I really don't like editing. And I had forgotten to push record. So we're talking to the camera and really not talking to anybody.
Yep. Y'all missed out.
So here we are again in our little room. And this little room is our furnace room. We call it the furnace room for our shop. Ron built it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yep. Little, what are we, 8 by 10 by 12, I guess.
Yeah, about.
Just something real quick and fairly inexpensive to get our inventory in here. We got our one of our wood stoves in here to help our inventory dry, keep us a little warm.
Well, it's a nice place for. It's off of the Hoop Barn Workshop, and it's a nice place for peel off the outdoor clothes that are all wet from the snow and mud and stuff, and hang them up in here because we're just like sardines in that trailer.
We are.
We are. So at any rate, so here we are 2 months later, and where have we been? August and September are extremely busy months for our shop. We do a yearly job for Anthropology as part of Urban Outfitters, and they more or less own us for that time span.
Yeah.
And in the process, we keep up with our regular Etsy store and any other work that we have. So being here on the Homestead, we kind of knew that all of our plans and intentions when we moved up here in June would be altered by work. I mean, you watch these programs where those reality TV shows where people go off grid, and it's like they have no work. The only thing they have to focus on is their homestead. In reality, anyone that goes off grid has to focus on their homestead and providing, an income.
Yeah, and work. Yep.
We've had several comments, several new subscribers over the course of those 2 months. We really have missed everybody on YouTube, and we appreciate all the new subscribers and everything. And to those that have left comments and we have not responded, it's not because we haven't tried. We're having an issue with our YouTube channel, and it started just about the time that we did our last video. And I haven't had much time to really look into it. I've done a little bit of research. I've cleared the cache out. I've done all this other stuff that they said to do, and it hasn't cleared up. It just won't allow me to respond in any form or way. So I think until I get that figured out, what we're going to do is I'm going to take the comments, and I'm just going to do a Q&A video. And each video we put out, I'll do a reminder to everyone that please, if you leave a comment, please feel free to, but don't feel slighted that we haven't responded. We will get to the question in a Q&A video. So I think it's just the best way to work it out right now. What we do with it.
Sorry, you also mentioned Facebook, didn't you?
Yeah, but what I think if doing it by Facebook, then it divides up too much, and I might miss it. So I was thinking this morning, I think a Q&A would just be better, and it'd be quicker actually for me to do a Q&A than have to type stuff out.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna do for now.
That'd probably be the easiest.
It would.
That would be the easiest.
What have you been doing these past couple months?
Well, the last couple months, like Leah just said, Anthropologies, that's crazy time for us. That actually went fairly smooth for us.
It did for being in such a new area.
Hesitant about, not having the conveniences of home. Not having the modern conveniences of home,
The wood stoves.
The wood stoves, yeah.
Space.
But everything, I think it went, really smooth for us this year, and, thank God for that.
We're very grateful for that. We got things out on time, which is huge.
Yeah.
And that was really what we were banking on to buy. We own this land. We land contracted this land. And we talked about that in a previous video. But we didn't... That was a dog.
That was a dog.
We didn't want to have debt, any more debt than necessary, because we still have a mortgage where we came from that we're paying on. So that's 2 mortgages, and we just our goal is to get out of debt. So we wanted to.
So what do we got? 2 mortgages.
Well,
this one won't last long.
This one will be done in 3 years, I think, is what the land contract is finished, and by the grace of the good Lord and things go smoothly, we could have it paid off sooner, or we might have to go 3 years. I don't know. We'll see. But the point is we didn't have cash for land, so we had the land contract, and we had a down payment, and the down payment came from last year's anthropology money, which works out great for us, because what it is we do the product, we ship it, and then we're net 30. They give you one lump sum. It's not like getting paid periodically. You have to do the whole order and ship it off.
Right.
This year, our goal was to get anthros done and get through the trailer. We had hoped to get the cabin stuff purchased before, but our last ditch effort was, if we couldn't do it, if money didn't come in the way we needed it to, that we knew that we would be able to buy our cabin supplies in November. Be building in the UP a cabin in November.
In the winter.
And that's exactly what has happened. And so, we just got, building a new homestead, building anything in life, you have to learn to roll with the punches, because if you don't roll with the punches, you'll make yourself sick.
Well, you will. Yeah, you'll drive yourself crazy, that's for sure. And the plan was, you can have all your plans lined up, A, B, C, all the way through. And with us, it's, and probably with a lot of folks, you've got, if
it's disgusting.
Another time. Sorry.
They found something to chew on. They probably would be best to leave alone like a stick.
Yeah. With our time, when we have time, or when we had the time, we didn't have the money. And then at times when we had the money, we didn't have the time. The two have to line up. At least for us, the two have to line up.
And you're not always in control. I think we've seen this whole 6 months that we've been up here as kind of a going through the alphabet in different plans. You hear plan A, plan B. Well, we've gone from A all the way through the 26 letters of the alphabet multiple times. And it's important too, if you're going to start an adventure like this, that you have a good support group. I think we've mentioned that before, but I can't mention that enough. Men and women are so different, and they're supposed to be different. That's how God created us. I mean, we're supposed to be different in so many ways, but especially emotionally. And me as a woman, I find, even though I like to see myself, and I do believe I am a very stable emotional woman, but there's a lot of changes when you go onto a piece of land that has nothing. And you find yourself in some situations. And Ron has been my rock, and I think without him, I probably would have lost my mind a few times over these past few months, just feeling overwhelmed.
Things are overwhelming.
They are, yeah. And I think we
know.
knew that, but until you're actually involved in it, I don't think you realize just how overwhelming those things are.
No, and you can go over, 100 different scenarios, and until you're in that situation, you just, it's kind of hard to put into words, but, until you're put into that situation, just what are you really going to do?
Right.
And, so far I think we've been rolling with the punches, I guess, if we can say that, rolling with the punches pretty well.
We have.
When things don't work out, we just, continue on and try a different path, and, eventually, God does bring the answer and the avenue for us to take, and
it's not always in our time. He's an on-time
No.
God, and He brings it right at the right time. And, no matter, sometimes I do fight the timing of things, and a lot of times I do fight the timing of things, but every time it's like I'm reminded that when God brings it, that was the right time, not a month earlier when I thought was the right time, or 2 months earlier, but just at the right time is when it's brought. And I still have to be reminded that every single time.
Yeah.
I frustrate myself.
Well, I think we live that every day. Every day. That's when we think we know that, and then something else comes up, and
Right.
God, if we only had this right now, it would be it would take care of it. Well, it still works out, and then sometime later, that answered prayer, is really the right time.
Right.
So that's.
And usually you can tell that because it's just things come together much easier. You can look back over the course of time and you can see, well, if it would have been answered sooner, this would have happened, or this wouldn't have happened, or boy, I'd have got myself into this position, or I wouldn't have known this. So God is good all the time, and
Yes.
we just as people need to learn to work with them.
Yeah.
But that I think my point again is just to emphasize anybody considering doing this, going out to a raw piece of land off the grid, you've got to have a good support group. You've got if you're doing it by yourself, you've got to be mentally prepared because you'll get discouraged. You'll get frustrated enough to think, what have I done? We had a video during the summer. Ron asked me on the video, was is being in a trailer really that bad? And my answer was,
I don't remember.
he's blocked it out. Yes, it was that bad. Just because, it's cramped, it's little, we have a large family. It's big enough to, have a roof over our head to keep us dry. But being in the trailer in 2 seasons, going from summer through fall and now into winter, I guess, 3 seasons, we just started the 3rd. We have found a lot of quirks about the trailer, trailer living that we never knew about.
Right.
Moisture in the trailer. All
Condensation, yeah.
pretty much everything we had in there that was paper, and we had a lot of books, got boxed up and put in the storage unit because there was just that much moisture at times from whether it was cooking or heating. And that's very frustrating because you're constantly, having to wipe stuff down and, constantly worried about stuff getting ruined and things. But my point here is, there's the bad attitude, looking at the negative. And the positive attitude is, there's a lot of people that would love to have a little trailer to keep the rain off their heads, to keep warm, to have a place to sleep. And I think it's just a matter of adjustment. My mom has a little house. The house is adorable.
Yeah, cute little house. Yeah.
But it is small. It's not tiny, but it is small. And she does have a little kitchen. I don't know what, probably
Not much bigger than this room.
12 by 12 maybe.
No, it's not.
You don't think it's that big?
It's like an 8 by 12.
She's got a refrigerator and a stove and her counter, and she's got a table. And that's been one of the things that she always talks about, her little kitchen. Well, we went down there. That's where somewhere else we've been this past 2 months, is we had to make a trip down to winterize our house down there and pick up some more things. But we were over there, and I said, "Oh, Mom, your kitchen's so big." I said, "It's huge." And she looked at me and she said, "I'll have to remember that." But what that did for me was remind me, I have to remember how many people are without, and being in a trailer for just a little amount of time. It's twice as long as we thought we were going to be in there.
Yeah.
But it's still a safe place.
Yeah.
And
our one of our original plans was to have the cabin done, way before now.
well, as we said, if we could afford it, but we couldn't up to
And
this
be in
point.
it. And we haven't, weren't able to. So
survival is over 50% attitude, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is.
Maybe
It is.
maybe if you could look at survival on 100% bar, 40% would be attitude, 40% support, and then just 20% just survival skills.
Well, yeah, that's first thing they say in a survival situation, if you're out in the wilderness lost and stuff, is to stay put and think about your situation. So, your attitude, that's, don't go off half-cocked and,
Do something foolish. But we have got the building materials, thank God.
Yep, we've got all the materials.
We got everything but our door and windows. But that'll come.
We're going to build it from the inside out, so we're close to.
Worst case scenario right now, he can build a door. and we can, get a couple of windows just for light to get us through until we can get what we want. We're hoping that things will switch around and we'll be able to do that in the next couple weeks. But if not, that is the worst case scenario. But other than that, the cabin is all paid for the outer shell. We'll move in once the shell is done, and we will finish from the the inside at that point. But we'll have the wood stoves in there and plenty of room.
Yes, plenty of room. It'll seem like a mansion.
It will. He's got the subfloor down, and I stood on that last night, 30 by 16, and I felt like I was in this huge house.
Right, I did too. I have too. We'll should start framing the walls today. And it's nothing fancy. Like she said, it's 16 by 30. Window placements, the size we want, and where they're going. It's really hard to say at this point because we are going to be putting additions on. So those aren't going to be a real
permanent.
Yeah, a real permanent thing. So the studding the walls together and getting those erected, I don't foresee that taking too long. And our trusses and the roofing are being delivered Monday, which I don't know the date. I don't remember what the date is Monday, but Monday. So if I can have the walls studded and up this weekend, get the trusses here Monday, be getting those up, Tuesday. It'll take a couple of days to get those on.
But by the end of next week, we could be putting the board and batten on, and
we could be putting the board and batten on by this time next week. Yep.
And then the following week, we could be moving in.
We could. My goal was to have us in before Christmas. So far, the good Lord's been so gracious to us on the weather here.
We live in the UP. We're usually, from what we understand from the locals, we've not experienced a UP winter, but the locals say, but oftentimes by Halloween, the end of October, there are snow banks being built up by then.
Yep.
And we've had hardly nothing in our area. And we have prayed that God would hold off on the weather up here. And the locals are baffled by this, but we trust that God has answered this prayer for us because we have sought earnestly and He knows our need. So
every day I keep praying for a couple of more weeks, just a couple more weeks.
Well, here we are at the end of November. And last year they had feet of snow.
Last year I think they had over 80 inches of snow up here at this opening day of deer season. They had over 80 inches of snow. So we've been so blessed.
We have perfect timing always.
Yep. And actually we wanted to move up here. We really wanted to be up here last year, and if we would have come up here, in our time last year, we would have been dealing with trying to build a cabin in almost 8 feet of snow.
Yep. Living in that trailer in that type of weather.
Not to say that 8 feet of snow couldn't be coming, but so far,
So if we post a video and the cabin's not up and we're having a blizzard, y'all can laugh, but we just we're grateful. We're grateful.
So grateful.
So we've taken some footage of the cabin building, and we will put that together here. Hopefully, I'm waiting to get some footage of him putting up the walls, and after that, I'll put out the video. He finished the subfloor last night. That was a 2-day project, which wasn't bad. He just started on the cabin last
Monday?
Tuesday. No, Tuesday. Last Tuesday. So it hasn't even been a week. So he's a madman on a mission right now.
Well, we know the stuff is coming.
We do know it's. We've had a couple little dustings of snow. We had a snowstorm warning last week, and it just
storm warning. That's right.
it bypassed us.
Yep.
You go about 10 miles to the west of us, north of us, sorry. North of us, and they got quite a bit of snow.
They do,
But
still.
we had got a dusting and it rained it away.
Yep.
We are in mud right now, but that's
Yeah,
all right.
right now.
We'll get over that.
That'll be covered up before we know it.
Well, we just wanted to get the videos rolling again. I'm going to be busy with the kids. All of our Christmas decorations are down below, and we're not going to have much time to decorate the cabin because we won't be in there that long before Christmas is here, but we're going to do some homemade decorations, so I hope to get that on video with them. Those are always fun.
Nice.
We're going to do it all, much of it from wood tree slices, and just odds and ends. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, it should look nice. It'll be nice.
You have anything else you want to add? Hi, Mom.
Huh?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. No, I guess that's it for now. Just appreciate everybody's comments and everything. Try to be more regular.
I think I'll cut that out.
Yeah, we can cut that part out.
Well, you all have a good weekend.
Stay warm and dry.
God bless.
God bless.